A storm churns overhead, frames flicker, lightning splits the sky, a mirror cracks, a single candle flares to life. Narrator, urgent whisper. The monster you're running from is wearing your face. Confront it now, or it will write your destiny. The candle's glow widens, revealing you staring into that broken mirror. Your pulse thumps in your ears. Every shard shows a different version of you, some weeping, some snarling, all begging to be seen. Carl Jung called these fragments the shadow, the disowned parts we exile because they scare or shame us. Ignore them and they hijack your life, leaking out as jealousy when a friend succeeds, rage when a stranger cuts you off, numb scrolling at 2 a.m. as your unlied dreams die quietly. Jung's warning was blunt. Whatever you repress returns, amplified. The shadow isn't an enemy to kill. It is raw, nuclear power awaiting command. Picture your earliest memories. Before age 7, your brain soaked up the world in a trance, recording every rule as absolute truth. To be loved, I must please. To stay safe, I must stay small. People like me don't shine too brightly. Without knowing, you signed an invisible contract that still edits your choices. Fast forward to present day. Your boss's mild frown sends you spiraling into self-doubt because the contract says criticism equals rejection. A partner asking for space triggers clinginess because the contract equates distance with abandonment. Jung called these emotion-soaked loops complexes. They seize the steering wheel whenever life presses the same old button. Grab a notebook, split a page into 3 columns. First, write a trigger: criticism, loneliness, someone else's success. Second, note your overreaction: 3 days of self-loathing, sudden neediness, secret bitterness. Third, guess the shadow's unmet need: unconditional approval, security, permission to aspire. Naming the demon is half the battle. The unconscious becomes conscious, and snake venom turns into medicine. Behind every ugly impulse hides a frozen need for freedom, power, or love. Jung didn't stop at analysis. He plunged into the psyche through active imagination. In a darkened room, he breathed deep, invite a shadow figure to appear, then converse with it like a curious journalist. Tonight, try it. Lights off, phone silent. 10 slow breaths. Picture the place where your demon feels at home. A childhood classroom, a cluttered kitchen, a battlefield. Let the figure emerge. Don't sculpt it. Observe. When it arrives, ask, "What do you want me to know?" Write everything afterward, no censorship. The first time may feel eerie. That's proof you're touching live psychic wire. Pop culture says exorcise demons. Jung says transmute them. Your aggression, once integrated, becomes the spine needed to set boundaries. Envy morphs into motivation. Fear becomes a radar for risk. Next flash of anger, label it aloud. Anger is here. Notice the body location: tight jaw, clenched fists. Burn off the cortisol with 20 push-ups or a brisk walk. Then translate the message. Which boundary was crossed? Finally, act. State that boundary calmly within 24 hours. You just forged a weapon out of molten emotion. Try the mirror test. Stand nose to nose with your reflection and speak 3 truths you usually bury. I crave attention. I'm terrified of failing publicly. I resent my sister's success. Hold eye contact 30 seconds after each line. Feel the heat. Let it wash through you. Repeat daily for 21 days and watch the charge fade. The neural circuit rewires under sustained exposure. Inside you also live 4 archetypal allies. The warrior lends courage to face pain. The magician offers insight and strategy. The lover reconnects you to compassion for self and shadow. The king or queen integrates the trio, ruling the inner kingdom with authority. In meditation, summon whichever ally you need. Warrior keeps you standing when the shadow roars. Lover softens judgment. Magician translates cryptic messages. King or queen decides the next move. Integration is a council meeting, not a civil war. Set 3 micro-integration challenges for the next 24 hours. First, give a sincere compliment to someone for a trait you secretly envy and feel the sting lessen. Second, take the opposite action of a lifelong rule. If the contract says, never speak up, raise your hand in the meeting. Third, text a trusted friend one fear you spoke in the mirror test. Tiny acts, repeated, bend destiny faster than marathon workshops. The candle flame steadies, heartbeat drum fades. A whisper closes the loop. A demon ignored becomes fate. A demon confronted becomes power. In the next chapter, we'll enter the labyrinth of relationships, where unintegrated shadows collide and can fuse into something greater. For now, blow out the candle, but keep the ember alive behind your eyes. The journey has only begun. The ember behind your eyes flares into a corridor lined with mirrors stretching into darkness. Each mirror reflects a relationship from your life. Family, friends, lovers, rivals, endless faces stitched to your fate. As you walk, the glass ripples, revealing hidden currents. In every bond, 2 shadows dance. Jung taught that what we refuse to own in ourselves we unconsciously project onto others. We blame them for carrying the traits we exile. Your timid colleague seems lazy because you suppress rest. The brash stranger feels arrogant because you bury ambition. The corridor invites a radical experiment. Reclaim the projections and watch the external world shift. A mirror brightens, showing your teenage self confronting a parent. Their stern glare once reduced you to silence. Tonight you step closer and speak the words you swallowed. Your fear was never mine to carry. The glass softens, parents' eyes filling with surprise, then relief. You sensed a karmic knot loosening across decades. Another mirror flickers. An ex-partner accusing you of being distant. You lean in, owning the truth beneath their complaint. I feared needing you. The figure nods, dissolving to mist. With each confession, the corridor brightens, proving that relationships are alchemical vessels, pressure cookers where shadows can fuse into gold if we dare stay conscious. You pause before a darker mirror. It shows society itself, vast crowds hurling labels: outsider, enemy, inferior. Collective shadow at work. History's atrocities sprout from masses projecting inner fear onto chosen scapegoats. The lesson lands heavy. Personal integration is not private luxury. It's civic duty. Every shadow you own subtracts a drop from the ocean of collective hatred. You touch the mirror, whisper, I take back my fear of the unknown, and a crack stitches closed across the glass. A doorway appears, marked the altar of conflict. You step through into a circular arena where 2 figures face off. A friend who betrayed you and the part of you that allowed it. The air crackles with unfinished business. Jung advised dialoguing rather than suppressing, so you speak first to the friend, airing hurt without venom. They respond, reflecting your boundarylessness. You turn to your inner figure, asking why it stayed silent. It admits believing love must be earned through sacrifice. Recognition sparks transformation. The arena dissolves. Both figures bow and merge into your chest, adding tempered steel to your boundaries. Outside, twilight blankets a wild garden. Here live the archetypal lovers from everyone you've desired. Each offers a lesson. One teaches passion without possession, another companionship without control. You walk among them, thanking each for the mirror they provided. A final figure appears, an ideal partner shaped by your integrated values, not your wounds. You do not chase. You simply recognize. The garden path becomes a bridge stretching toward future relationships built on truth. Mid-bridge, you encounter the specter of envy again, clutching that lightning bolt key. She gestures towards storm clouds gathering above global news screens. Success stories that once triggered resentment. She presses the key into your palm. Turn it, she says, and these screens become tutorials, not torments. You twist the key. Lightning forks across the sky, revealing blueprints. habits, disciplines, risks behind each highlighted triumph. Envy transforms into mentor, her green cloak unfurling into wings that lift you over self-imposed ceilings. Landing on a mountain plateau, you find the warrior waiting beside a forge where the sword of voice now glows. He challenges you to test it publicly. A podium appears, audience murmuring. Heart races, but you recall the contract rewrite. I can be imperfect and still be loved. You step up, share a story of recent failure, weaving humor and insight. The crowd leans in, faces soft. Vulnerability becomes magnetism. Applause rings like old shackles breaking. Night falls. You camp beneath stars. Magician crouches by the fire, drawing constellations in the dust, maps of your relational patterns. Triangles where you rescued others, circles where you looped in conflict, spirals where growth beckons. He erases the rescuer triangle, sketches a hexagon of mutual empowerment. You feel synapses reroute. Tomorrow, you will let a colleague solve their own problem, offering support without rescue. This small tweak prevents burnout and grants them autonomy. First light. Lover wakes you with a melody on a wooden flute. The tune carries a question. Can you extend the same tenderness to the world that you are learning to give yourself? You recall the collective mirror and vow daily acts of microservice. Eye contact with the janitor, anonymous donation, defending a maligned group in casual conversation. Each act is a thread repairing the social fabric your reclaimed shadow once tore. Descending the mountain, you cross a river whose surface reflects a single throne. King or queen awaits integration of these relational lessons. Kneeling, you recount victories, naming projections, transforming envy, setting resilient boundaries. The monarch rises, your own mature self, crowning you with responsibility. Guard the realm where inner and outer worlds meet. Back in ordinary reality, phone buzzes. Family group chat argument brewing. Old reflex to dive in and fix. Instead, you breathe, consult the council. Warrior advises restraint. Magician suggests one clarifying question. Lover reminds you to honor each viewpoint. King decrees a single message. I hear strong feelings on all sides. What outcome does each of us truly want? The chat cools, conversation shifts, constructive. Evidence. Integration scales outward. Evening commute. Billboards screen consumer fantasies. Shadow of greed stirs. You smile, negotiate. I'll savor what I own and pursue goals aligned with purpose. Greed nods, shrinking to manageable size. Subway car fills. A stranger's music leaks from earbuds, irking you. You identify projection, your denied desire for spontaneity. Instead of stewing, you let the beat tap your foot, energy flows rather than stagnates. Microalchemy in motion. Home again, journal open. You create a new 3-column page labeled Projections Reclaimed. First entry. Lazy colleague becomes my denied rest. Action taken. Scheduled Sunday off. Second entry. Arrogant influencer becomes my buried ambition. Action. Outlined bold project pitch. Each row closes a psychic leak and redirects power inward. Candle lit, mirrors gone. Now a single open window shows night sky alive with meteors. Symbols of thoughts once scattered, now burning bright paths. You breathe gratitude. Every relationship, friend or foe, was tutor to your integration. You sense whispers from future connections grown healthier because of today's work. Before sleep, you write one sentence. Power reclaimed today. The courage to see myself in everyone. You blow out the candle. Shadows gather not as threats, but as guardians at the gate of Part 4, where we will plunge into creativity and purpose. How an integrated psyche channels its newfound energy into building a life that sings.